Can you tell us where you were? Yes, between 9 and 10, I was in the clubhouse. Now, how do you pronounce your last name? Grain. Mr. Grain. At any time between 9 and 10, did you see Mr. Moore? Yes, shortly after 9. I left the house at 9 to go to the clubhouse, and I left the clubhouse at 10. And shortly after 9, when I got at the clubhouse, I saw Mr. Moore shooting pool. Was he with anyone? Yes, he was. Did you know that person then? Yes, I did. And who was that? Bob Job. No further questions of this witness, Your Honor. Miss Grove, Mr. Green. Do you remember what you had on that day? No, I don't. Do you remember what Mr. Moore had on that day? No, I don't. Do you remember what Mr. Job had on that day? I do not. Is there any particular reason why you remember the 12th out of any of the other particular days? Yes, there is. What is that? Immediately following, that was a Friday. On the following Monday or Tuesday, Dan came to me and asked me, did I remember seeing them there? Then he recalled the incident, and I did recall it because at that time it was only 2 days old in my mind. Now, at the time that he asked you if you remembered seeing him there that evening, did he describe what he was doing that evening? No. How many people were up in the pool room or the rec room? I really don't know. There was several. Other than Mr. Job and Mr. Moore? Yes. Now, how long did Mr. Moore stay in the pool room? I really don't know. Was he there when you left? I left shortly before 10, and I saw him there shooting pool, as I had seen him when I came in. So you left them in the pool room? I wasn't with them. I only waved at them when I came in. Were you with anyone? No. Were you watching the time or the clock in particular? No, I wasn't. How is it you remember exactly that you left shortly before 10? Because, no, I left my apartment at 9, and I returned to my apartment at 10, and that time I am sure of. That is what I am asking you for. Yes, how are you sure of that? Because I am sure of what I did that night. Okay, no further questions. Anything else? No. All right, sir, you are excused. Defense calls James Romanos to the stand. Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give and the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God? I do. Be seated, state your name, and spell the last name, please. James P. Romanos. Romanos. Sir, directing your attention to May 12 of this year, were you in the clubhouse of the Oakwood Garden Apartments in Anaheim? I was in the pool area, the swimming pool area, between the two, the jacuzzi and the swimming pool. Not the clubhouse then. I was in the clubhouse at one time during the evening, but not early in the evening. At any time that evening, did you have occasion to see Mr. Dan Moore? Yes, I did. Do you know Mr. Dan Moore? Yes, I do. Do you recall about what time it was when you saw him? I can't place it exactly, but it was sometime between 9 and 9:30. Where was that? At the table right next to the jacuzzi. He came by with another fellow, and I offered him some beer, and he and the other fellow both took a can. Did they then go into the clubhouse? They headed in that direction. I didn't really watch to see where they went. You didn't see them leave the clubhouse, did you? No, I did not. Have you seen that other fellow here in the hallway or anywhere today that he was with that night? I am not sure if that is him or not. I really couldn't testify to that. Do you know who Mr. Job is? No. I have no further questions. Miss Grove, is there any particular reason why you remember May 12th? Danny, 2 nights later, asked me if I remembered seeing him, and I said I did. He asked me what time, and I told him, and he asked me to remember that. Do you remember what he had on that day? Jeans, tank top, that is what he usually wears around. How is it that you remember that you saw him between 9 and 9:30? He took my last 2 cans of beer, and I had to go over to the liquor store to get more. Any reason why you knew exactly what time it was? I had come home from work late. I had worked overtime, and I had gotten home about 8:30, ate a quick meal, and went out by the pool with a 6-pack. How long had you lived at Oakwood? December 15, so by the time it would be about 6 months. Do you know how long Mr. Moore had lived there? No, I believe he was in there before I was. No other questions? No questions. All right, sir. You are excused. Defense calls Darold Arnold, I believe is the last name. Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God? I do. Be seated, state your name, and spell the first name, please. My name is Darold Arthur, D-A-R-O-L-D. Is that last name spelled A-R-T-H-U-R? Yes. Mr. Arthur, do you know the defendant in this case, Daniel Moore? Yes. Are you a resident of the Oakwood Garden Apartments? Yes. Were you a resident on May 12th? Yes. Do you recall seeing Mr. Moore on the night of May 12th? Yes, I do. Do you recall what time you saw him? Well, I had been down to a movie earlier in the evening, and we left there about 8:45 with one of the other members, a new member, and we had gone up to play pool, and we played a game. So it was sometime after 9. I would say roughly 10 after 9 to 9:30. Did you see Mr. Moore more than once? That evening? Yes.